Okay, I can't see.
Yeah, we do.
We do?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so would you like me to start with the,
Yeah, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and I'll read the notice.
what time
Okay.
is it?
It
Yes,
is
ma'am.
5:35.
So 5:35 on Tuesday, January 13th, 2005. Our meeting was called to order by Chair Hall. May I do a roll call, please? Catherine Hall, Commissioner Hall,
Here.
Commissioner Bradley, Commissioner Reverend Dr. Lisa Goods,
Present.
Commissioner Fair,
Present.
Commissioner Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones,
Here.
Commissioner Anastasia Shakoram,
Here.
Commissioner Damiana Willis, Commissioner Lita Marie Wills, I got 6. So we have quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay. And they may join us. It's just 5:36. So, in compliance with notification requirements of the Ohio Open Meeting Law and Section 101.021 of the Codified Ordinance of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. The boards and commissions of the city of Cleveland conducts its meeting according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you virtual attendees use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. Okay, please wait for the chair or the facilitator to recognize you, and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finish speaking, please lower your hand by clicking the raise hand icon and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the top right of the Microsoft Teams screens. Thank you. I'm gonna turn this light off. I had to turn it on so I could see what I was reading. Sorry about that. Speaking of seeing, first, welcome everyone this evening to the meeting. We would like to say some congratulations. Some of you heard we'd love to congratulate our fearless leader, Councilwoman, for her reelection as a council person. And thank you for all you do for the community and for this commission.
That's right. Our booking. Thank you. Thank you for the prayers.
Yeah, we are here for you. And if you need us, just let us know. And we certainly appreciate all the time, energy, and enthusiasm and knowledge that you bring to this group. We'd also like to wish our commissioner a happy birthday and add her to our prayer list. Reverend Dr. Lisa Good is writing her dissertation, and we know that it will be defended and reported positively. So happy belated birthday to you, this special birthday. And you've got all of our prayers. If you need a meal or you need something to be dropped off, don't hesitate to call on your sister girls here. We can do that. I've also learned you can send DoorDash without, I can send you a DoorDash coupon so you can get a meal and you don't even have to see me. So any other congratulations or great things to report on from the group?
Thank you.
Madam Chair. So I am the new chair of Step Forward.
Okay,
congratulations.
yeah, the board. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I knew you could do that.
Congrats. Ah, I don't know. We gonna pray.
No. When I was chair, I asked her to join the board with us, and she does a great job with that and everything else she does in the community. Any other good news to report?
Commissioner Lita Wills did an awesome presentation for council yesterday. It was really awesome, and so I'm just gonna give her another kudos of sharing just the real work that the Division of Health Equity and Social Justice is doing on behalf of the city of Cleveland. It was great.
Fabulous. Thank you. And I think we have some other folks too. Any other good news or things to report? Commissioner Taylor did report in. She was at the urgent care and not feeling well, so she was going home to rest. And I believe that Dr. Bradley is actually out of the country.
Well, actually, I'm just back.
She's a
Oh, well, you
Dr.
joined
Bradley?
us.
I just got back from
Welcome.
Antarctica today.
Oh wow!
Today.
Wow!
Oh, I had a long trip since Christmas with my daughter, so it was wonderful.
That's nice.
I saw
Wow.
that polar bear challenge where she jumped in.
I
How cold
can't
was that
believe it.
water?
It was cold. It was cold. Yeah,
Dr.
absolutely.
Bradley, you did the polar bear challenge.
Yeah, I sure did. And
Oh,
climbed mountains and did everything. So, and the craziest
Oh,
thing is my son is like, "Mom, I know that's not you. I know that's AI." I'm like, "Come on, I don't even know how to do AI." But we had a good time.
That's all right.
Thank
And
you.
do we have any visitors with us online this evening or in the room?
I can't see.
I can't.
Yeah. Councilwoman Lauren Welch is visiting us with us today. She's in the group.
Awesome. Welcome, welcome. Anyone else visiting?
Delaney West is visiting. She always sits in Delaney West.
And also Delaney West is visiting us again today. So thank you for coming. Come have a seat with us.
Right.
I don't know what they sit where they want to sit.
Just want to make
I
sure.
think we do have some visitors online.
Yeah. If you're
Yeah, I
a
can't
visitor,
see.
can you?
Councilwoman Vincent. Okay. Committee. Councilwoman House going up.
Sorry, we have Ben Dreyer, Monique Jones, we have Ron, we have Sabrina Otis, we have RT, and we have TCO. And if maybe they want to drop their names in the chat. And of course, we have Erica Walker Smith from the PIO team. Thank you all for joining us.
Richard Andrews from the Real Deal Press is on.
I see
It's
that.
in the chat.
Oh, okay, yeah, I only can see this one page, so it might be another page.
Yeah, I
Thank
went
you.
to chat. Yeah. Welcome, Richard, and everyone else. So we'll go ahead and get started with the meeting. So we finalized our materials for our meeting for city council as well as the mayor. And we're going to be reaching out to you, Councilman House, if you could kind of guide us on when or how or which committee we need to meet with city council, that would be helpful. We'd like to get those scheduled.
Okay.
Okay.
I would say just right now, I would just send it over to the workforce education, training, and youth development committee. That's Councilman Starr, myself.
Okay.
Just send it over. Because of like budget stuff like that, it'll probably be a time before if there's any presentation. So just to stay on schedule, I would just send the presentation over so we can qualify as being submitted.
So send it to Star, to you, and to the mayor's office, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. And then we'll be putting a meeting on the calendar for the mayor to come and meet with us, or to get on his schedule when it's convenient for him.
I'll follow up on that, Madam Chair.
So we may need to add a meeting to the calendar, because he'd like to meet with us and go over the information that we put together on what we're working on this year and what we've accomplished in the past. Make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. And then we were asked to put together a roster, board of trustee roster and term limits. Some of our terms are coming up as due. Did we have that document in the room?
Yes.
If not, okay. Can you, Madam Secretary or Madam Ibakun, would one of you kind of walk through the list? We have some.
Oh,
some
I
of
thought
our-
it was just me.
Some of our seats are, our time with the commission are coming up. And I'll give you a heads up, mine is up in February, and we will need to start to think about a chair and a co-chair. Or, okay.
Would you like me to read down the list of information,
Yes,
Madam
please. Yes, please.
Chair? So, Commissioner Hall, Board Seat Chair, Business and Community, term ends on 2/8/26. Commissioner Linda Bradley, Cleveland Clinic, term ends on 6/12/27. Commissioner Cash, Secretary, City Hall employee. Mine ends on 2/8/27. Reverend Dr. Lisa Goods, Faith Community, ends on 3/19/27. Commissioner Fair, Social Services, 2/8/26. Commissioner Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones doesn't have a date.
We're not letting her go.
No, that's last is
You
for.
don't have an end date.
I'll make that. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Indefinite, Commissioner Shamika Jones Taylor, Vice Chair Preschool, Primary, Second Education, 2/8/27. And I think Eva Kuhn did send this in emails to everybody, so
Yeah.
they should have received it.
Okay.
Commissioner Secorum, college student, 2/8/25, but,
Yeah.
they
So now-
redid 25, but you guys redid her, stuff, am I correct? Commissioner Willis, Grassroots
Go ahead, I
Organization,
cut you off. I'm sorry.
2/8/27, and then Commissioner Lita Marie Wills. I don't have her. You're political
Yeah.
designee, so
Mm-hmm.
you don't have, you're indefinite too.
Yes.
So we have our indefinite people, so we don't work.
So we wanted to bring this to your attention. I'm going to be meeting with the new chief of staff with the mayor to kind of go over this list. Also, our committee itself is working on applications for positions as well. Then the other way that, for those of us who are coming off of the commission formally, there's a way to continue to participate on a working committee, because as you recall, we had indicated that we were going to have people from the outside community participate on committees. So just wanted to bring that kind of to your attention. Also get you guys thinking on your upcoming leadership roles and who might want to take those on. Commissioner Lisa, you're on mute. Okay.
I'm wondering, is there anything in our bylaws or in our governance documents that allows us to extend a commissioner's term if they so desire to? And the reason I ask that is most of our work has been organizational and getting things moving on the commission. And we are just at, really getting to the point of actually taking on actions. And I do think that consistency
It's critical.
is critical at this moment. Additionally, it it takes some time, as we have seen, to bring new commissioners on board, and so with people's terms it expiring, particularly next month, I don't know that it's realistic to have expectations of consistency and actually furthering the work.
Yeah, and that's the purpose for my meeting. So some of you may be invited to that meeting as well. We want to find out what the procedure is and talk about those who do have a desire to remain. Because Commissioner Anastasia has stayed with us, but her term had expired. So that's something we need to clarify in terms of what our desires are. Because until you put this together, you didn't know what it was going to entail.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
would
the
also
purpose
like.
for. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Go
Please finish. Oh, I was just gonna say, I can go more into that when I give the membership update,
Okay.
but just to kind of adding on to Commissioner Good's point, like, we have 15 applications in total, and based off of how the charter is written, because we got pushback from the people not being eligible based off of their residency, because that is a main requirement, and people who applied are eligible. And so just adding to that point of like, it just seems to be, taking a lot of time to even fill the vacancies we have. I just agreed with what you were saying.
And my plan is to
Commission-
move that meeting quickly with the powers
Commissioner
that be.
Annis, I was just going to ask, when you're speaking into the mic, if you could not be quite as close, because we're getting a whole bunch of feedback when you just.
All right.
Any other questions?
Yes, Chair Hall, I wanted to ask, for those whose terms are ending next month, is there any procedure we need to follow in the meantime, or will you figure that out when you have that meeting?
Right, we're trying to have that meeting next week, so
Okay.
I'll be reporting back
Okay.
to you, and I'll also be, I won't do that in a vacuum. I'm keeping the councilwoman informed as well. So some
Thank
of you
you.
may be invited. We may actually have the membership committee members as part of that meeting, because then you can speak to the difficulty in recruiting, what we've encountered, and the time that it takes to actually get folks in place.
But also to review the process of engagement, as far as residency, as far as people's commitment to really be on the commission, that we can follow the charter. So I think that the membership committee should be a part of that meeting, so that it can be sequential and you can get everything taken care
Handled
of
at
during
one
that
time.
meeting. Yes, ma'am.
But we will keep you all informed. And then for
Thank you.
those of you whose terms are up, if you would let me know via email tomorrow of your interest in continuing, that would be great. And then if anyone has an interest in any of the leadership positions, let me know as well. Okay. So maybe any other questions regarding that? So then why don't we, the next logical step may be the membership recruitment committee subcommittee report, because they've been actively working on recruitment and going through applicants. Anastasia, would you like to give the report?
Yes. So, as I said before, there were 15 total applications that we've received. Those names are as follows: Chanel Harris, Angela Kane, Imani Edwards, and Nelson I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Ronman Delaney West, Lauren Durham, Dior Edwards, Sydney Evans, Ellis Buford, I'm sure I butchered that, Sherry Parks, Adrian Pounds, Paris Lumpkin, Clarissa Lupin, and Shania Campbell. I also want to say, for those who want to follow along, I did just send the email link out. I know we were advised to keep everything in our city email, so I have it in a OneNote, and I sent everyone an email for the link to the OneNote, but EBCO didn't let me send it to you, so I just wanted to pause just in case anybody wanted to follow along. And that's what I'm reading. The second bullet point I just have is that, again, of the 15 applications, only 8 of them were eligible based off of residency. So the ineligible people of those I just listed were Sherry Parks, Angela Kane, Imani Edwards, and Nelson Delaney West, Dior Edwards, and Allison Buford. And on there I have their addresses that I won't state on the record, but they're in the document. And then of the applicants who were eligible, they applied for the following positions. So for the higher education slot, we had Chanel Harris, Daya Ronman, Adrian Pounds, and Clarissa Russell. Under labor, we had Lauren Durham, but after the membership committee, selected her for an interview, she did withdraw her application, so there is technically no applicants for labor. We did get an applicant for a CMSD student, Shania Campbell, and we had 2 applicants for college students, eligible applicants for college students that were Sydney Evans and Paris Lumpkin. Obviously, it was a commission voted to accept Sydney Evans at I think it was like August or September meeting. And then, so from that, the positions that have the potential to be filled, again, are higher education, the college student, and one of the CMSD student roles. And so of those, so again, we had selected Ann Nelson, who realized could not bypass the residency requirement, and then, okay. And then the following applicants are still under review based off of the time of their submission. These were submitted like the last few weeks, so the membership committee just hasn't had the time to meet to for the scoring based off of the rubric. And so those names are Chanel Harris, Adrian Pounds, Clarissa Russell, Shania Campbell, and Paris Lumpkin. The following vacancies that have no applicants based off of the current vacancies, again, labor and one of the CMSD students. And the following positions have no applications based off of the term expirations that will be up, and that is social services and the business community. Community, a person in the business community. So depending on what interests are, those will just be and no applicants for that. So that's my report.
So for the positions that we're seeking, we're looking for a CMSD student.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for a laborer and higher education. Those are the slots that has to be filled as of now.
Those are the slots that have to be filled as of right now. If we were to pick somebody of these right now, we would have fillings for higher education. Higher education would be filled. We have 5 candidates for that. And no, wait, sorry, I don't want to misspeak. We have 4 candidates for that, and then we have the 1 candidate for the CMSD. We have, if we were to pick everyone who's applied, for the extra college student, that the college student roles would be filled, and then one of them being filled by Sydney Evans, and then the other being filled by the person who didn't apply. And then again, there'll be one applied for labor and the 1 CMSD.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Is there any, I guess this is the appetite of like, any changes that we needed for this legislation to potentially just do like a general, what would I say, like a general member, you know what I'm saying, where there's no, that you don't, and I personally, I think that many of these roles just need to be general experience. I really, based off this experience, and again, I guess through the chair, to have a conversation of, do we want to consider just making the membership to the commission versus these designated areas, just of like
women, women and girls, you know, maybe still having maybe the college and the youth, but just for women and lifting up some expertise. But I just don't know. I don't know how people are feeling about that.
My concern has been with
I can't hear you, Commissioner.
Sorry, my concern has been with the prescriptive positions that we've been working within is that we don't have sort of like a general membership, or because what I would like to see is input from a regular person, you know, not necessarily having to represent. And we talked about this a little bit with when we talked through the student qualifications, where we weren't wanting to restrict people by things like grade point average, and you know, so why wouldn't we advocate for not having such tight restrictions in these categories, to be able to reach out to women that have broad, vast experience. It just may not be as a college student or as a laborer. I'm not saying we don't need a laborer or a representation of that workforce, but let's be a little bit more open in how we come to that.
One of the things that you can do, because most boards do have definitive spaces. They want somebody from community. They want somebody from education. We don't have where you could just say community, and community can encompass just a general.
To your
person.
point, I was gonna say, instead of eliminating positions, maybe we add 3 or 4 general commissioners. I wouldn't take away from those categories because there was a lot of
we're not saying that.
putting into it, but I would say add general commission members, because we talked about senior citizens.
Or just add community.
Homeless. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So rather than swap out those categories, we could leave them and suggest, as part of this process, we've learned that we'd also just need general categories to be added.
I would agree with that, Chair Hall, just because I do think that there is a balance that we need to meet, but I also think that there's some level of expertise needed on systems because of what we're trying to do here. So yes. I think adding would be better than taking away and replacing.
I had the same comments as Commissioner Fair. I think there is some wisdom in the balance of the positions. However, I do agree. I think it's a both and situation that we do need to add some categories of just membership, community membership.
Yeah, I would like to add to that as well, and I did want to ask, like, if we are going to say just a regular person, how do we quantify that? And I don't have a problem with that, but I did because I did when we did the first round of applications, I did suggest a role for community engagement before we stringent the residency requirement, because there was an applicant stood out. I mentioned Iman Edwards. She's a she's a director of like public affairs at Taft, and so I had mentioned then, that would be, she had the qualifications, but also just seeing how strong those qualifications were, a space for community engagement. So I had mentioned that a few months ago, so I definitely support that, but also adding to that as well. I think that with how slow things have been moving, it just can't hurt to add more voices and people to the table.
When you're looking at a commission, you actually have to look at the numbers too.
Yes.
So that's something critical. So I can understand and respect where we should have representation for a community person. But then again, we have to look at our numbers of how many people are on the commission, because then we run into a whole different issue. You have commissions who are 18 members. You have commissions who are 15 members. I sit on a board right now where we're going to go from 18 to 15. And so the Adams board is 15. So you have these different boards and commissions who are really taking a really strong look at their numbers. But we also have to look at the fact that even though we're saying right now, we're going to have people come in because of the residency thing, all the commissions has a residency, whatever. And so we are fortunate that we have 2 bookends. We have Commissioner Stephanie House Jones, and then we have Commissioner Gray, that are that are able to help navigate us through this process for right now. But futuristically, we are going to have to be in compliance with the charter that was initially set. And so even though she's going to get us out of this, thank you very much, we won't be able to continue to put her in a position where she have to fight to get us out of this. So for right now, if we have like the young ladies that we want to put on the board, if that's what we're doing, and she's advocating and going to bat for us, moving forward, we won't be able to do that. We have to stay within the constraints of the charter, but we have to really look at the number of people that we have serving on the commission, because that is critical. And right now we're at, what are we? We have 10, but the numbers is what is it, 15, Councilwoman?
Well, that was
Okay.
one of the points I was gonna make. We've been having
14.
difficulty even,
Can't hear you, Chair Hall.
okay, sorry, I was gonna say, we've had difficulty getting all of the roles filled. So I think at some point, once we figure out what this balance is, it'll work itself out. But we already know from experience that these are some of the issues that we have. And we have kind of a overwhelming consensus that some of the suggestions for solving that.
So I would just, I'm just going to say this. So we have 14 members on this commission, and I feel like it is definitely taking time. And just because I feel like, and this is the thing, I'm going to take ownership of this at times coming into, is thinking that people in a title will have a level of experience that I don't know. I just think that to get back, and even just seeing like the plight now is just many times when you think about like everyday hardworking women of Cleveland, it is not reflected here on this commission from my perspective. And I think, from people that I represent, I don't necessarily see like they'll feel like this commission is representing them. I will say that. And I'm saying it in a very real way. And because of that, that is the reason why I really would like for us to look very differently and to, having a real mix up. I mean, it's cool to have professional degrees and all that type of stuff. The reality is the majority of Cleveland women don't have that. So who are we? So I just would like people to really think about that, and we'll come up with we'll figure out a place from that. We would need to come up with an actual real proposal of what we think. And like I said, when you're struggling to get quorum with 14 people, how would getting more lead you to a better result? And I don't think more people means that you're going to be more effective. I do think you need to be effective with the team that you have.
So as I said, I will take into account all the comments that everyone has made. I'm going to pull together a meeting with many of you being invited to that meeting, and then we'll have to come to some consensus, and also make sure that we are adhere to the charter and our working objectives as they were directed to us. And part of this, as you said too, is it's been a learning experience. Just the length of time it's taken to get different things done, how you reach different communities, what communities you need to be reaching. So I think, we're moving in the right direction. I think too that based on where we are, we'll be moving a little faster. But I appreciate all the feedback, and it's not taken lightly, and we're making a note of it every time we have these discussions. Any other comments on this?
Yeah, I guess I just want to say, from my perspective, I don't know how you quantify a regular, average, working, everyday woman in Cleveland. I think we can't be presumptuous off of what that may look like based off of what is on the piece of paper. And I think more voices, more dynamic voices and more perspectives is always beneficial, to, advancing any sort of mission, and, more voices of different Black women from different walks of life and different dynamics. I don't see how that's a negative or how that has slowed the slow, like, I don't see how more members on the commission would be counterintuitive, because from my perspective, I don't think that things have been slow because of the number of commissioners. It just seems to be slow for other reasons, and just because, again, this is a learning curve. So, in a very new commission of its kind. So, based off of, this thing with the mayor's office and city council. So, yeah, I strongly believe that the more the merrier. So, those are my thoughts.
Mr. Good.
Yeah, I would say to Commissioner House's point about quorum, I think that is always going to be part of the nature of the beast of a commission of this nature, because while there are a few on the commission who are city employees, and so the commission work kind of fits in or can be a part of their routine. That the rest of the commission, whether they're professional or what we are calling everyday community members, are then juggling the schedule with their other jobs. And so don't always have the flexibility to shift things to be a part. And so we're just always going to have to be cognizant of that when we talk about getting quorum and the ways in which we come together, because as we have seen, trying to manage the calendar is a struggle, but that's inherent in a commission of women who are working other jobs and doing other things. But that's also part of what we bring to the table, is that lived experience, whether it's professional, whether it's in labor, whether it's a homemaker. It's that those are the things that we bring also to the commission.
Absolutely. Okay, so we will move forward quickly on getting some of these things resolved. We will not do it in a vacuum. We will do it with your input and your suggestions. But this is one of our number one priorities moving forward in the next couple of weeks, to have this meeting and have these discussions. Okay. Anything from the Economic Development Committee? Education Committee?
Yeah, so we have finally successfully gotten, I would say, some initial connections with 2 of the 5 girl organizations, or it's 2 girls schools and 3 girls program in the city of Cleveland. We have one of the things when we have approached the Warner Girls Leadership Academy, again, Thompson School for Girls, sister after school program, Cleveland Pearls, and the girls program at Daniel E. Morgan School. Many of the I would say facilitators, educational leaders had kind of tasked us of basically what we are trying to do. Who do we want to talk to? Did we want to have like videography or recordings of the sessions? And for the most part, we have laid out kind of a series of 10 to 12 questions depending on the category. So we have broken it down basically from grades 1 through 4 in a section, 5 through 8, 5th through 8 in a section, and 9 through 12 is another selection of questions depending on what group of young girls we'll be talking to. And depending on the dates that we get will determine how many people we will actually be able to talk to, because when you're kind of having these facilitated conversations with young people, ideally you want to do it in like groups of 3 to 4. So that really is really going to be a dynamic type of flow. And we're working to get dates from these organizations because schools are during the day, the after school programs are in the evening and maybe on the weekends. And so there will be plenty of opportunities for people who are interested over the next 2 months to engage with girls in our community. And it is set up and designed to really just get their feelings and ideas and suggestions that hopefully we as a commission will be able to then build upon. So I will say share that perspective as far as our visits. The education subcommittee, Lord Jesus, we just got the survey out. We will have the date solidified by Friday. So prayerfully, by the time we meet, I guess February 12th, we will have our first finally report out from the education subcommittee. And that's kind of generally where we have been. I would say separately from the education committee, really trying to work through in this new year of how, well, you know what? I'm going to stop there. I will wait for, I don't know if it's old business, new business, but I'll wait. So I'll put a pause right there.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman? Anything
Just
from healthcare? Oh, sorry.
You know, I have a general question. When the question was posed to Commissioner Cash and I about recording or video sessions with girls, I just, and again, initially we talked about it. We was just like, no, we weren't going to record it. The only thing we may want to do is like a group picture at the end. But now, as I went through, you know, this process, I guess we wanted to ask the commission, what do you all think? Do you all think we should lean for recording, or should we just go with the picture? And again, initially we were just thinking about really just making sure we take some really good notes and keeping it moving, just to get in some of the you know, parental consent issues when it comes to videography, but just wanted to at least pose that point to the group to see what people thought.
So a lot of times when they're having events at schools and we just tell them that we want to take pictures, the school will normally send a permission slip to the parents, or they may even have one on file that they can participate. And so with those different schools, they normally have that in place, and we can just check and let them know we come in on a certain day, and is it okay if we take pictures? And they will normally send those permission slips out to the parents, and then we will be covered. That's the norm.
Yeah, you're right. Most schools will send out that picture or video media release for parents to sign at the beginning of the year. But also one option might be to, if you take pictures, to publish, and maybe, I don't know if the girls will be shy to talk on camera, but maybe one way kind of around that is to record the conversation and publish the transcript, so you could see responses of, you know, read through them. I
kind of agree with you, Commissioner Rita, because it would be helpful to hear their dialogue, not necessarily their photo. You know, I wouldn't, if you want them to be candid with you, I don't see them getting in front of a video necessarily saying that, but it would be helpful maybe if there was some way to get that audio. Or another kind of curious way to include people too, if we reached out to some of the local schools, they actually have court reporters to take the notes. If we could engage with some of those individuals, just so we have a copy of the notes of what people are saying, so we can address it.
They don't have it now.
Hmm?
The school right now with their, what's it called, Vita? What is it called? What's that stuff they doing right now where they're doing? Right, so with them building brighter futures right now, they don't have the capability of doing, using their scribes and stuff of that nature. Because they're saturated with school choice building brighter futures as of right now. And so I think the transcript thing may be good if we record it, and then to have that, I think that would make more sense. And then we print it out, and that way we're not infringing on anybody's privacy policies.
Because I could see them being more candid if they were not.
They'll be candid anyway. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Healthcare.
The next healthcare meeting is scheduled for tomorrow at 5:30. It is virtual, and the group will be bringing in topics and priorities to talk about. But one thing that we definitely will cover is updates around the Medicaid changes and those impacts that are happening between Medicaid and SNAP requirements. That is going to kind of hit this area pretty hard, and then. Also, I will probably, one thing that we are dealing with at the health department is the changes in the vaccine recommendations, and being that we are public health, and we also make a point to work with pregnant women and infants, providing what guidance can we provide around vaccine recommendations to stabilize that information that's going out, that comes out from the federal side of things. And then also just to be reminded that we are currently in Cuyahoga County in a measles outbreak as well. And I might as well just go into justice and civil rights, but I would lean on either Dr. Bradley for anything that she wanted to say with regard to healthcare, but for Dr. Lisa Goods and Tanisha Fair, we are in the process of scheduling our next committee meeting for justice and civil rights. But one of the priorities that that group had been talking about already was one, thinking through a process for us to be able to set priorities and take positions in the future as a whole commission, but also we have been all interested in making sure that Tanisha's law stayed on the radar, and I know there's been a little bit of movement in that area that probably Commissioner House-Jones will update us on, but that's what I have. I will toss it to my fellow committee chairs for any additions.
I was more so just going to add that as Lita and I were discussing things in our last meeting, I know that we've been looking for recommendations for events and partnerships and all of that. So I went through all of our previous notes as a commission just to put together like a little table of things we've already suggested. So I'll send that out to everybody so that we can continue to add to that as we think of things. We hadn't discussed too many events, but still thought it would be helpful just to get us started to do that as a commission.
That would be helpful to the public hearings and listening sessions so that we could start to pick dates and secure spaces and support the work of all the committees where they wanted to be out in the community. Other comments? Any additional comments from the other commission members on those committees?
I don't have any additional ones.
Commissioner Lita, you were saying that measles outbreak, it just kind of, I'm wondering, as we communicate with women and girls, how do we communicate? So there's a lot of noise out in the community in general, you know, from the news and this and just all this back and forth. If once we get our listserv up, is there's ways we can make suggestions to get communication out. So if I'm a new mother, do I give my child a measles shot or not? You know, it's just like so how do we communicate that? How do we partner with those folks who are already in place and say the commission supports this, that, and the other, and here's where you can get additional information where you have your health questions? Is that churches? Is that, you know, it's not a this or that, it would be a this and that. So where do people in the community get their news, or where are they subject to go to get answers to the questions that they have, especially those that might be underserved?
Sure. I think for our Cleveland Health Department, I just got off a call with our folks over at Cuyahoga County Board of Health. We're all kind of doing the same thing, and making sure that we provide alternative to current CDC and HHS recommendations, providing like associations for applied pediatrics, the neonatal doctors associations. They are all still recommending vaccination, and they're putting out statements to clarify and make sure that folks are educated. So we're making sure that we lean on those medical associations and the medical community to provide truthful resources that our community health workers can turn community members to, and we make sure that we are echoing and elevating the scientifically based recommendations, and also making sure that above all, we ensure that we're telling people to turn to their own doctor as well, for getting those recommendations of what they should be doing. But we are definitely Cleveland, our Cleveland Department of Public Health Director has been putting out statements, as well as CCBH. And interestingly enough, Cuyahoga County Board of Health has developed a sort of a curriculum for folks who work with the public, whether it be in social work or in the medical field, but folks who come in contact, like we're talking about daycare workers, persons who work in community centers, to provide this curriculum for vaccine hesitancy. And what it does is it helps you as a person working with different populations learn how to talk about vaccines in a convincing and educated way, but also being able to tell the truth. And so they are rolling that out this year to be able to just educate more groups of folks to be able to do exactly what you suggested, is how do we direct folks or provide accurate advice of where you should be getting this information from, but also approaching vaccine hesitancy with breaking down myths and barriers. And that's something that we can do within, speaking for Cuyahoga County Board of Health, but we do partner together. That's something we can do in churches, community centers, schools, a multitude of community resources and organizations to just help get that word out there.
Maybe too, given that it's vetted information on our own webpage, because they're like, so you talked about the measles, but also the flu.
Yeah.
You know, is like raising its head. And it's one thing for people to get it. It's another for people to start dying from it when they don't have to.
Correct.
And so maybe as part of our, because one of the things that we're adamant about is being resources for community women and girls. So perhaps we add a tab, looking for answers, health, looking for, so we start maybe with health, that we would add that and address the flu and the measles. I'm just making a suggestion.
I'm also, first of all, I guess since I've been buried in dissertation writing, I did not realize that the outbreak was in Cuyahoga County as well. So that is for measles, and that is shocking. But I am wondering, how, if there is information or how we might address the importance of this in our communities in Black communities, Black and brown communities, because of the social determinants of health, and you know that these type of outbreaks have rippling effects in the in our communities. And so adding that dimension into, if that is in any of the literature. And I'm also wondering, I know Lita speaks through her lens of the Department of Health. I'm wondering if Dr. Bradley has any information about how the clinic and the other hospitals are also approaching this.
I
And
think,
just
well, I
before,
think we're still,
Dr. Bradley,
oh,
just
go
before
ahead.
you, Dr. Bradley, I just want to note in the chat, someone also mentioned RSV. So as another thing that's on the rise.
Well, just to answer the question for vaccinations, we're still holding steady to additional vaccines that have been recommended. And as you mentioned, the social determinants, everything's going to affect the Black and brown community more. And so that has not changed. And it basically, I think it's more of the naysayers and the negative, lack of a better word, fake news that's out here that we're just trying to counteract. So, you know, come up with truths and just say that we, you know, those, you know, physicians may say if they're young and have pediatric age patients, you know, not patients, but kids themselves, most everybody I know is still getting their kids vaccinated. And I think a personal story is, whoops, am I still on here? Yeah, personal story and storytelling is so important. You know, it's no different than contraception to say that people, most doctors use the IUD, most doctors use birth control pills. So I think it's just turning the negative narrative to what it still holds true, and it protects life and limb and all of that. So we haven't changed.
Commissioner Lita, are there places where people in the community can get those vaccinations that are free if you're underserved?
Yes, both city health clinics right now, McCafferty on the west side and Jay Glenn Smith on the east side. Also, Cuyahoga County Board of Health, our immunization centers, and I believe the majority of our federally qualified healthcare centers, which include the Neon clinics, the Centers for Family and Children, and neighborhood family practice are also, and there are probably a few others in there that I'm, Care Alliance I want to highlight as well, but there's a few others. But yeah, you can, for the most part, get those vaccinations at a number of places across the county.
So I asked that question because Secretary Cash, if you and I can work with Commissioner Lita to add that health tab and to talk about here's where you get these free vaccinations.
Mhm.
So that might include measles, that might include the flu, that might include RSV, but we have provided the information and we provided a resource that people can access.
I think we have a resource list.
Are there any vaccination clinics or health fairs that are going on that we might support with our presence, with our, you know, to
Promotion.
lend credibility?
I'm not sure. But in terms of community events, a lot of times there will be a community event coming up where they will ask for like health mobiles to come and each organization, whether it be Metro or City of Cleveland Health Department, Cuyahoga County Board of Health, offering a different type of service, and many of them will be offering vaccines through those. But there is also, I'd have to take a look to see about larger events that are coming up. But I think that's certainly something that we can keep an eye out for and make sure that we're also helping to promote. Good idea.
Yeah. Dr. Bradley, if you with your health hat on can kind of do a little research around that, that would be helpful as well.
Okay. Yeah, I'd have to
Thank you.
figure that
Yeah.
out. And the other thing, I was just wondering, everybody eats and goes shopping for food. How much, this is just a random thought, do we ever have literature for certain of these health issues? Has it been discussed before about using it or making it available or distributing through, Dave's Supermarket, different supermarkets, corner stores and things like that? About, is your child vaccinated? Are you vaccinated, including flu, COVID, RSV, and all of those? I'm just thinking of another avenue that
Yeah.
it just came to my mind that everybody shops at least once a month or twice or more often. So just another, I don't know
Yeah.
if stores allow that kind of literature to be distributed or available, but that might be something else that's interesting.
That's certainly something that in the public health department I can bring to our community engagement folks to broach. Have we been approaching? I know we've been approaching them on other topics, but we also use barbershops and beauty shops quite a bit too. But I think food related, stores and corner stores, those are definitely things we can look into to make sure that we have takeaway info for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else under healthcare, justice, or civil rights? We heard from membership and recruitment. As I mentioned, public hearings and listening sessions. As we put together our working objectives and calendar of events, then our subcommittee will work with you to promote those in secure spaces, promote the events. And so once we get past the first month or so and decide what we're going to be actually engaging in, we can start to help to promote that. Research. I think all of you are doing research just based on the nature of what you're doing. Yes. Commissioner
Chair Hall,
Goods. Mm-hmm.
before we move on, as far as public events and listening sessions, our next meeting, we were able to confirm with the Village of Healing to have our meeting. We discussed this in our, I guess it was December meeting.
December. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I did make contact, and Commissioner Cash and Ibukun will be communicating, but they did confirm once we got our calendar date of February 12th that we will be there. And so they will accommodate us. Their Shaker location, which is in the city, has is a smaller space, but it is enough to accommodate our normal monthly meetings. And I think it is a great place, particularly as we're talking about these health issues and highlighting what the work of Black women in Cleveland are doing. It will be a great opportunity, and they are very excited about having us.
Awesome.
Also,
Thank you.
I also wanted to add too, I just added this to the email thread yesterday. At the last meeting, I mentioned two churches that are both on the east and west side. Millefic Calvary as well as Bridge City Church. We're open to hosting meetings for the commission. Millefic Calvary got back to me saying that for the following dates, they can host us. It's a very large sanctuary, very similar to that of Shiloh Baptist. It's like one of those older churches, larger churches. So they can willing to accommodate a meeting, a public hearing for us on either April 23rd, June 25th, August 27th, October 22nd, or the December 17th meeting. Any of those dates worked for them. And Bridge City Church, they were available for our slipping my mind, but I think whatever our meeting date is in May, but they did have a small fee for their AV coordinator, because I did say that, TV20 would have to be their AV operator. And so they wanted to know, what are, who the, what if we had a, budget for that, and if not, we had to work around that, but I know we have a budget, so I don't know what that process is, but these are two spaces that will be from the east and west side. They're very accessible that could host a public meeting.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I am very connected with Pastor Kelly. So when we decide on dates, I can also, as part of it, because since I'm a part of that committee, can work with New Life at Calvary.
For the Village of Healing meeting, I see it's from 5:30. Is that when they were able to accommodate, or would you like to move the meeting to 5:30? Or all the rest of the meetings to 5:30, because they're currently at 5 right now?
Yeah, so the time frame that I gave them was 5 because that was what was on the calendar. And so that's what we had initially talked about. When you, and I'm pretty sure they seem to be
Flexible.
pretty flexible. So when you and Eugenia connect with them, you can have that discussion and let us, all know.
And also, if they're hosting us does not include refreshments, let us know, because we have a budget. We can provide our own for the community.
Okay.
Anything else under subcommittees that we've not covered? Moving into new business, we had talked about in our last 2 previous meetings what different things each committee is going to be working on this year. So if you can provide that, we got a lot of notes. You all are working, but if you can summarize what those 3 objectives for committees are and turn that in, that would be good. We need to give some thought to calendar of events. We've got a pretty good head start in terms of the new year, where we might want to be meeting in the community, but kind of solidifying those. But I'd like some input from each committee if you actually want to have an event or thinking about partnering with an event in the community, so we could talk through it and then finalize it on our schedule. And then every year, well, last year, we kind of went through the year and topics came up. And so I made a note of just some of the, and it's not a comprehensive list, but Women's History Month is coming up in March, the Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October, and human trafficking was a topic that came up. And probably I would add to this health. But now is the time for us to decide, what are we going to highlight, promote, or partner with in some of these women specific kind of topics. So I just kind of added it to the calendar so that we could talk about it.
Chair Hall, I would like to suggest that when we have our meeting at Village of Healing, or if Commissioner Goods, you'd like to speak with Dana, I think it would be helpful to ask them if they have any events coming up that we could partner with them with, since we already have that connection now, just to help cover some things around women's health or family health.
That's a good point. Okay. Any others that we need to add to the list?
I guess I would just add, I guess the question is, it is basically coming up on a year from the time that we hosted that Empower Her kind of meetup. And I'm, I guess, asking the question, is it of interest of the commission to do it again? Yeah,
I would like
because
to
so I'm just saying, because we got a plan. It's basically like 2 months away, and we're doing all of the things to get moving.
goes into the details for that. Yeah. That makes
I
sense.
think if we did it, we might need to consider what the purpose of it would be, because I think the purpose would not be the same as it was the first time. And we want to make sure that we're using our time effectively and also not having people come out for something when we don't fully have a purpose for it. So I think that would be my only suggestion regarding that, doing that particular thing again.
Yeah, I don't think the Empower Her event has to be in March again. Like, it could be a little later to give us more time to flesh that out. But I do think we should do it.
Have a major event where we engage. And we had talked about, this was before, so we kind of had a list of things we wanted to do as far as events, but then the world went crazy, okay? Because we had actually talked about partnering at Public Hall with a women's kind of resource fair that included health. That was one thing that was kind of on our agenda that we talked about. So now is the time to kind of put our thinking caps back on and decide kind of what we want to do. So I would just ask if you have things that you think we should do, if you could please get that to me by Monday, then I will make sure to share that entire list with the group and we can weigh in to those that we think we want to be involved in. And keep in mind, we won't be doing one a month or anything, but last year, these were some of the things that kind of came up: the Women's History Month, the empowerment piece, domestic violence, and human trafficking. But I think, clearly what we've also talked about is health. So that would give us 3 or 4 things right there. Any other suggestions or comments for the work we should be doing in 2026?
I think we should have another retreat as well for realignment, as we did last year. Because I think we'll have a new commissioner, hopefully onboarding. I don't know what the update is for her swearing in, things of that nature, but just being able to meet again in the way we met last year at the library.
Okay, like a retreat.
You got to be a facilitator. Oh, in my opinion, we got to get somebody coming.
I
Yeah.
wanted to just call out, if I can, in terms of things that I hope we broach this coming year, is that if we even go back to the original charter and look at the issues that are facing Black women and girls in Cleveland that were called out there, or even thinking about the majority of issues that were called out as issues and barriers for Black women and girls by the original Project Noir surveys. I would like to see us come together around those particular issues and provide some recommendations to the mayor's administration and to Cleveland City Council as far as things that we think could move us in the right direction or begin to help alleviate some of those issues. So I hope we come together around some solutions to some of the issues that were called out originally for creating this commission.
You have a retreat and a facilitator. You have a retreat and a facilitator, as was just mentioned, you can actually cultivate that process of engagement to share. That can be your strategic task of work.
So, okay, I'm gonna go back to maybe that could be the purpose of having the next Empower Her to like that. I mean, again, and I don't know if people actually looked at the feedback from the event that was stated. That was one of the things of what was mentioned, what could have been better, more solution focused dialogue. So I mean, I think that's, a good idea. We definitely should. And why go at it alone? Like,
I really think based on what Lita said, we also might need to make more space for working meetings so that we can do a better job of developing our agenda. Because I do hear what you're saying, Councilwoman, but I think my worry is that the community is going to start to get frustrated with us continuing to ask them these questions of what they think, and we're not doing anything with it. I think we already have feedback from the community that we can use first. to start developing an agenda and then go from there. But my suggestion would be, if we do the Empower Her event, to maybe focus more on
Response.
providing a space for Black women to come together, because that is something that they said the last time that they would like, just a space where they can just be Black women and enjoy each other's company, versus it always being focused on more feedback when we already have had feedback from multiple community listening sessions. I think it's time for us to use that and create an agenda and then go from there, so that we don't feel like we're continuing to waste the community's time.
I concur, and there's also a message in the chat. And I actually would like to invite, if it's okay, Madam Chair,
Yeah,
our guests to speak on that.
Yep, absolutely. I was just trying to wait for them to get done talking. So, okay. We have a visitor, Sabrina Otis, and her in the chat, she says, can I speak as a regular Clevelander? At what point does the agenda match what's occurring in everyday lives of the women of the community? And then she also said, as she was listening to what we were talking about in the empowerment event, maybe having a family conversation, inviting folks to have a family conversation. Now, Miss Otis, would you like to weigh in, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. No, I came in person and then I did a video. I participated on another video with you all. And so this will be my third time showing up. And all three times it felt very sterile. Like the conversations you guys are conducting are very sterile. They're not very community oriented. It sounds community oriented if it was in a book or if you're checking off on a check sheet, but it doesn't sound comfortable for someone who doesn't come to all your meetings. It feels like, we're participating in this meeting, but then we're participating it at a distance where you're afraid to jump into the conversation because the coverage isn't there, if that makes any sense. We're talking about healthcare and we're talking about, maybe getting and participating with grocery stores or whatever. And that's great. But when is it where the conversation matches, like, hey, you're on the telephone with a good friend. Hey, I participated in this meeting and these are the bullet points. When I sit through this, it's hard to get the bullet points to go back. I'm the co-chair for the district policing for First District. I would love to go back and give out some of this information, but there's like bullet points that are scattered and it's hard to grab them in, speak it out, and catch someone's attention without them getting distracted, disinterested, and they don't want to be engaged, if that makes any sense. When I say a family conversation, I was hoping at some point, because we are women, our conversations would be like having a conversation with a group of girlfriends and not politicians, if that makes any sense. And I love you, Stephanie, so I'm not saying that part. I just mean, like, I was hoping at some point this group would be more, the message would be more catchy, where you can catch on, you get it, and you're able to disseminate it, if that makes any sense. That's what I'm trying to say.
No offense taken, Miss Sabrina.
Sorry.
So thanks for your feedback, Miss Sabrina. Is there any, we've heard what you said, so if we had a summary of what we're working on that we could pass out, even if it comes at the next meeting, that would be helpful to you? Or do you think that would be helpful to the
Yes.
community? Okay.
Yes.
So we could
Because
put,
like I
that's
sit
something
in
we
a
could
lot of
work
Zoom
on.
meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I sit in a lot of Zoom meetings and I attend a lot of things. And when I attend them, when I'm sitting in these spaces with other women, I'm able to recite it where everyone can catch and they'll say, wait, I want to attend that. What are they doing? Versus, what you say? Girl, that's too much information. I'm not attending.
Thank you for the
That's all I'm
feedback.
saying.
Any other
Thank you.
comments? No, thank you.
I think thank you, Sabrina, for that feedback. But I think what also I'm kind of hearing and interpreting is this need for us, our conversations to be when we get to this table, and we also are always welcoming visitors, and we want them to be here with us, but we have to make the conversation in the meeting accessible so that we're not just limited to updating on committee, what has the committee done, and I think some of this might take some of that work in between meetings that was just mentioned, but also in using this time, especially when we have members of the community present, we already know what the issues are pretty much that we're concerned with. This is the time to use all of our brains together and open up the conversation to begin to strategize towards solutions around those issues. And so if we are open to strategizing together, I think what comes out of each meeting is much easier to say, hey, we know there's been some movement around Tanisha's law. This is what the law says, and there's movement trying to get City Hall to pass it, right? And so that's easier to bring to your friends and family than concepts of ideas of strategies.
I think one of the other ways, and one of the other things that would be helpful, if I'm hearing Sabrina correctly, maybe as part of our reporting and our conversations, that we leave some open-ended questions for our guests about their thoughts on particular issues. And so there is always a need, because we do have to have minutes and report on what we are doing and so forth, but then also in those conversations, engaging more our guests on to get their thoughts, their opinions, and to make the dialogue something that everybody has access to.
And can I just offer maybe potentially just some thoughts as we prepare for next month's meeting? Maybe, I know we've had this thought about working objectives, calendar of events, those type of things. If we can develop, I'm gonna say 5 baseline questions that we want each subcommittee to answer, and then they can be prepared to do, I'm gonna say a 3 to 5-minute report out at next month's meeting. And based on us being at the Village of Healing, I guess that spotlight should be then focused on healthcare, right? And because we're in that space, maybe some work, maybe to have some initial conversations with Village of Healing of maybe some of the topics a topic they want to address, and then from there we can then post a couple of open-ended questions at that meeting. So then that way, people can kind of see the vision, understand where we're going. It's a focused conversation where people can know February's meeting is really focused on healthcare.
Okay.
And then, you know, by each month, we can actually start bringing a level of focus to our meetings, so that each topic area at some point or another will be addressed. And some will have more, some will have less. But I think that way we can then begin to start marketing our engagements to the public so that people can be attracted based on their interests, because everybody is not interested in everything.
I like that. And we'll use the next as our test case for how we get better. Any other suggestions or comments? Anything good for the order, new business?
Just to Tanisha's law, I'm sorry, just to give the updates. I'm sorry, the second hearing for Tanisha's law is tomorrow, Wednesday, January 14th at 10 a.m. Safety Committee. If things go well, there will be tomorrow be the conversation pertaining to the amendments of the administration. I will hopefully be able to work through those to then prayerfully have a third hearing of Tanisha's law on Monday, January 26th. That's the Finance Committee at 2 p.m. And then prayerfully, it will be then go to the full council that night, Monday, January 26th at 7 p.m. And so I guess the request would be on Wednesday, January 21st, if we can get a representative from, you know, the commission, a Black Women and Girl Commission at 12 p.m. to submit a support letter to just encourage council members to support and vote in the affirmative. That would be greatly appreciated. But you literally have to, we just need to figure out who would be that person if anybody wants to publicly speak. And you have to do it at 12 o'clock. If you do not do it at 12 o'clock, you are not going to get in, because those slots go out in like the first 10 seconds.
A question for me, because I know that people know, and I don't think people really know exactly what is to ask and what exactly is Tanisha's law. Some people don't know. So,
No, the general question.
We're going to take a deeper dive. Our last conversation.
Because remember, y'all, I presented this all at the retreat and
And we
everything.
supported
Yeah.
it. I'm saying for
At this point, for the general public, just a really brief of it. At this point, as it was introduced, it was supposed to be able to create a department of crisis response in the city of Cleveland to be able to respond to varying mental health, behavioral health, social issues without a police presence. So an unarmed response, community response. And where we stand now are the amendments that will be put forth from the administration is we have compromised to get a division of community crisis response embedded in the Department of Emergency Medical Services, EMS, other things. And so that's where we are. And yeah, that's where we are. So it has taken a long time to get here, but it looks like we will be at the point where we can affirmatively at least begin to expand the way that we are servicing people in our community. And again, I know this was a position that the commission took. And so if, again, someone wanted to take that opportunity, I just wanted to share that.
So, Councilwoman, question, would it be helpful for us to write a letter that comes from everyone that one commissioner could present? So if we put together a statement of support and signed it with all the commissioners' names, and then had one commissioner speak to it.
Yes, that's what I was trying to articulate. Yes,
Okay.
just one
okay.
person on behalf of the commission.
But we can have the statement signed by everyone. You know, we'd have their names listed so that they would see it's not just the one commissioner, but the entire commission is supporting this. Okay. All right. Did I lose you guys?
No, we're here.
Okay. So we can, I'll work with this, with Commissioner Cash to come up with a statement. We'll run it by everybody, get your input, and then submit it. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else good for the order? Thanks, ladies. Just a reminder, those objectives that you want us to be working on this year, get those to me by Monday. We'll be meeting to try to come up with some answers to what we talked about, the membership of the committee. And I'll be calling on some of you to attend that meeting as well. Okay. That's all I had. Thank you for your time. If there's nothing else good for the order, we will adjourn the meeting. It is 7:05.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay,
Thank
take
you.
care, everyone.
Goodbye.
And thank you, everyone who was on the line as guests with us today. We really appreciate your input and your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.